Hello and welcome back. We're here with Tarkir Dragonstorm set review, and today we are going to be doing all of the black cards, rating them 1 through 10 based on how we think they're going to be in a limited environment, so sealed and draft. We have Yanks on the call. Welcome back, Yanks.
Good to be back.
So today we're doing black, so we're looking at Abzan, Sultai, and Mardu.
Yep.
Those are our three synergies here. So let's jump in with Abzan Devotee, 2 mana for a 2/1 that filters, and you can return this card from your graveyard to your hand. This seems like the best one.
Definitely.
It's
Of the
got
three we've seen so far.
the best body that can attack, it can block, it does the same filter, and it comes back.
Yeah. No, this card is definitely the best of these three. I'm actively happy to put one of these in my deck.
Yeah, agreed. So 6? I feel like that's when I'm happy to put something in my deck, is it's like a 6.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, YouTube's going to be really confused because people are talking about dirty eggplants, but I swear it was relevant before we started this recording. Adorned Alligator, 5 mana for a 5/3. When this creature dies, create a 2/2 black zombie druid creature token. You can also renew. You pay a black, exile this card from your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, activate only as a sorcery. So, what cares about counters? That's a
Well, Abzan cares about counters, but
yes.
Sultai cares about renew and cares a little bit about counters because of the renew stuff. Not much, though.
Yeah, but also blue-green has a lot of the harmonize remove cards from graveyard situations. So this feels really good for Sultai. The counters feel really good for Abzan. When this creature dies, it replaces itself with something. So yeah, overall this just feels really well-rounded. It works with several synergies. It's a 5 mana. I feel like we've been seeing a ton of 5 mana cards that just feel fine. So I feel like it's going to be a really chunky spot in comparison to 3 or 6, which is going to make these cards overall just less valuable. But I think it's playable. I would say it's probably like a 5.
Like a 5, yep. Nothing exciting about it. Does a lot of things okay.
Aggressive Negotiations, 3 mana for a sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it, exile that card. Put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature you control. I don't usually like these sorts of cards, but the counter could be nice. I usually like to keep these in the sideboard for best of 3, but I'm not usually interested in playing them in my best of 1 arena games.
No, certainly not at 3 mana. Maybe at 2 mana, but
yeah. So rating-wise, I'm just going to put this as a 3. If you're short on playables, it can go in a slot, but I would say this is a card I'm actively looking to pick up late in a pack when there's nothing else for me, and it's not going to make the cut in my 23.
Yep, exactly. I've played worse than this, but I'm not happy about it.
Yeah. Alchemist's Assassin, 2 mana for a 2/1 with lifelink and renew. You can exile this for 2 mana from your graveyard, put a lifelink counter on target creature, activate only as a sorcery. That's nifty. It's a little curve filler, a little understated, but it, again, with renew, you're playing into that synergy of being able to remove cards from your graveyard, and the lifelink is a nice little bonus as well. It's probably a 5.
Yeah, I think so. It's not exciting at all, but
it's not exciting for an uncommon, which is why I think we might be missing something. And I think this will end up maybe surprise. This is so far one of the front runners for me that this is going to be a surprising card. But I don't love it as is, so we'll see. So 5.
Yeah, I'm wondering maybe just the ability to put a lifelink counter on something big later.
Yeah.
It could be the value there.
Yeah, and just it's pretty cheap early, does some stuff. Racing is going to be really good. So having that fodder, I think it just might tempo well, but again, certainly not impressive. Ashia's Legacy, Alesha's Legacy, that's the same thing. 2 mana for an instant. Target creature you control gains Death Touch and Indestructible till end of turn. These are always fine. 23rd playable. 4.5.
Yeah, it's going to win combat or protect you from a removal spell. 4.5 seems fine.
Yeah, certainly a card you're going to put in if you have room, but very easy to cut as well. Avenger of the... Oh, go ahead.
Avenger of the Fallen, 2 and a black, 2/4 human warrior with Death Touch. And mobilize X, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard.
I like that it gets bigger as you go. I mean, it should. It's a rare, and it's a 2/4 with Death Touch. That's solid. I like
Yeah,
this card.
I always like my Death Touchers having bigger butts.
I propose a 7.
Sounds good to me.
Great. Caustic Exhale, 1 mana. As an additional cost to cast, behold a dragon or pay 1, so it's only 2. Target creature gets -3/-3 till end of turn at instant speed. This is typically 2 mana, and I'm happy to play it. So this is just great for me. I love it. I'm going to say it's an 8.
Yeah, it's just a better version of
Last Grasp, so says target player.
yes, yeah, Last Gasp. Yep. So I was trying to think of that 2 mana -3/3. Yep, just yeah, and that's all we owe. Any sort of cheap removal, cheap efficient removal is going to get that 8. So
And don't forget, guys, in the comments or here on Twitch, if you guys think you want to, give us a rating that you don't agree with, give us, let us know what you think of the cards as well. Yanks and I are certainly wrong some amount of the time, more than we like to admit. So if you disagree with the card rating, feel free to jump into either the comments or here in the chat. What do you agree with an 8?
yep, cheap efficient removal.
All right, next up.
Corroding Dragonstorm, our third of the Dragonstorm cycle. 1 in a black. When this enchantment enters, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Surveil 2. And like the other Dragonstorms, when a dragon you control enters, return this enchantment to its owner's hand. I don't hate this card, but it feels like it's not like I like the blue one. It doesn't feel like it's synergizing too much with anything other than I guess Surveil 2 lets you put some stuff in the graveyard.
It's also not impactful enough like the others, like drawing cards, and what is the other one doing again? I forget. But it was
Made 2/2/2s.
yeah, that's just bigger and better than I think this is. It's cute. The drain is cool, but like it's not giving us like speed and stuff like that. It's just a slow drain for dragons. I didn't see an enchantment synergy in white or blue, which sometimes does, mostly white and green.
Yeah.
I'm not liking this card.
No, I am liking it in 2HG though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 2HG, my favorite format. So much fun. Rating wise, I think this is just very mediocre. So we're going to say 2.
Yeah, I'll be a little higher, like a 3. It's not great, but Surveil 2, just like Scry 2 is worth something, even a little more, because you can get some stuff into the graveyard that has some value, but it isn't really doing enough. So unless I have got a bunch of dragons, I'm probably just sticking this in the side.
All right. Cruel Truths. 4 mana, sorry. Instant, surveil 2, then draw 2 cards, you lose 2 life. That's pretty normal. It's at instant speed, costs 1 more, but like it surveils and at instant, so I'm okay with it. These are always pretty borderline playable. They're cuttable if you don't have better options, but I feel like at this point you typically will have better options. Certainly if you're Dimir colors, but even white, even green oftentimes have better card draw stuff going on these days to where it's just not worth a whole card to do this. I'm going to say it's a 4.5.
Yeah, I feel like I need a more up-to-date reference than Read the Bones for this card, since that was original Theros, but that's what I always come back to with these.
Mm-hmm.
Costs 1 more, but it's an instant. Surveil is better than Scry, so I don't know. I like as a 5. I'm probably playing the first one, especially if I have anything, any sort of Sultai renew stuff that can get me a little extra value in the graveyard.
So what was the rating that you would put this at?
5.
All right. I'm at 4.5, so it's still pretty close. Next up, we have Delta Bloodfly. 2 mana, 1/2 flying. When this creature attacks, if you control a creature with a counter on it, each opponent loses a life. I actually don't hate this. Abzan puts counters on things, so cheap flyers seem like they're going to help and gives you a little reach. It's effectively doing 2 damage for, 2 mana. I think that's nice.
Yeah, Sultai too, to renew stuff. I think we've seen all of it has been some form of counters so far.
Yep.
Whether it be +1/+1 or lifelink or flying counters, stuff like that. So
yeah, that's true. I think
yeah.
this is like a 5.
Yeah, it's 5. Another each opponent alarm bell for THC.
Yes. Rack them up, baby. Not that you and I ever open any of that shit anyway, but whatever. Desperate Measures. 1 mana. Target creature gets +1/-1 till end of turn. When it dies under your control, draw 2 cards. Interesting. I like that it's
Okay.
flexible. Like, a lot of times -1/-1, but like you get a sapperling or whatever. So those are usually pretty good. So you could just kill a creature. You could trade up and get to draw cards. I think this is solid playable.
Yeah, I mean, this is mostly what it can kill one of their things, can theoretically pump one of yours for a trade and get 2 cards, or just eats one of those mobilized tokens.
Yeah.
After combat and draws 2 cards, basically 2-for-1s itself. I do agree with Chad on the missing out with the no skull clamp reference here.
Yeah. What would you name it though? Because it's like an enchantment. It's an artifact. So I mean, I feel like it's a little bit hard to make the reference, but
yeah, maybe you could have done it in the art or something.
Yeah. Huh.
But yeah, or the flavor text. That's another place you could put it. But yeah, I think this card's
okay.
good. It's nice and flexible. Yeah, it's not super powerful, but
4.5.
Sorry, what did you say?
4.5.
I'm a little higher. I think I'm going to play the first one of this every time, so I'll do like 5.5.
I was on the fence. I feel like it's not gonna. I think it'll be my like last cut a bunch. Like not every time, but a third or half, which is why I demoted it from a 5. But
Sure.
I think it's still pretty close. It's just everything is so playable now. God damn it.
That is true.
It's so hard to make cuts sometimes. Dragon's Prey, 3 mana for an instant. This spell costs 2 more to cast if it targets a dragon. Destroy target creature. So 3 mana, destroy any creature unless it's 5 mana to destroy a dragon. That seems fair. At instant speed, I'm in for it.
Yeah, I mean, I always like these cards. They don't seem to be as good as they used to be.
Agreed. But I still think this is... At 5 mana, I'm still happy to kill dragons at 5 mana at instant speed, so... And honestly, most of the dragons don't seem that scary, and there's plenty of scary creatures that are not dragons, so... Is it still an 8?
I mean, based on the other color removal spells that we gave an 8, it has to be.
Yeah, I think so. All right, Feral Deathgorger, 6 mana, and you can either cast it as an omen, put a counter on up to 1 target creature, draw a card. I like that. Or have a 3/5 Death Touch flyer that says when this creature enters, exile up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard. So you can get rid of their harmonized stuff, get rid of stuff to trigger your stuff in your graveyard, which seems good. This is fine for a common.
For sure. The Death Touch is... I mean, flying Death Touch isn't always necessary, but the fact it's a 3/5 means it can just block a lot of things and kill them off.
And counter redraw, like you have so many cards that are going to interact with counters, especially in Abzan, that you're going to be really, really happy to have that as like a nice curve filler that doesn't punish you for just having too many 6-drops. So I like that.
Yeah, and it doesn't even technically require a target. So if you like desperately needed to cycle this for land drops or something, you could.
Yeah. I think this is playable. It's a bit expensive, but I think this is like not getting cut. So I'm going to call it a 5.
I think it's a 5, yeah.
Garmag
Rakshasa.
Rakshasa? 6 mana for a 5/5 with Menace. When this creature enters, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-2 till end of turn. Target creature you control gets +2/+2. I'm willing to pay this.
Yeah, you're going to get a...
Bodies that kill something like have been pretty underrated and game-changing, even if it's just a small one.
Yeah, and you just get to eat... you can eat a creature and give something else you have enough to make it like a free attack.
Yeah.
Or at least a tough attack for them to deal with that they weren't expecting.
I'm going to say that this is going to... obviously I want to open rare 6-drops that, kill people immediately. But, like, I think this will surprise people. I'm going to say this is, like, a 6.
Yeah, I think so. I think if it was... Yeah, I think a 6 makes sense. I'm trying to think, like, it could definitely be higher if the format fits right, but it is still 6 mana.
100 Battle Veteran, 4 mana for a 4/2. As long as there are 3 or more different kinds of counters among creatures you control, this gets +2/+4. You may cast this card from your graveyard. If you do, it enters with a finality counter on it. Okay, so it counts as a counter on its own, and now we're seeing why that monkey gave lifelink.
Yeah.
Right, because that's the sub theme here is counters and different counters specifically. That's pretty cool. And I like that you could just cast this from your graveyard, so I don't really care that it doesn't have toughness.
Yeah, I think most of the time you get to the 3 different counters, you're gonna get the finality counter on this the second time around, +1/+1 somewhere, and then something else you gotta find, whether it be lifelink or maybe there's flying counters somewhere. Stun counters technically would count.
Yeah,
Even though they're bad for you, they are on creatures you control.
that's funny. So the turtle, excellent. Now we know
Yes.
why the turtle goes in the deck.
Demir Turtles and 100 Battle Veterans.
I think this card's playable. I don't think it's too crazy, but I think it is playable. I'm gonna say it's a 5.5.
I think I like it as a 6. It's just one of those cards that it makes the other side hate attacking into you, because you're going to be able to trade up on this if they attack in you, like with like a 3/3 or a 4/4 or something, and then it's still going to come back, and they got to deal with it again, and it might come back even bigger.
Yeah,
Like,
true. All right, Kin Tree Nurturer, 3 mana for a 2/1 with lifelink, and when this creature enters, it endures 1. So 3 mana for a 3/2 or for 2 bodies.
fine.
It feels underwhelming.
It does. But I feel like I just historically underrate the value of just producing 2 things for 1 card.
Yeah, I think I would normally agree. This one just feels substantially weaker than a lot of the other ones we've been seeing. And lifelink, I don't know. Like, this ETB is just not good enough to me.
Yeah, I think I agree. My instinct is this card is pretty weak.
I'm going to give this a 4. If I'm playing this in my 3-drop slot,
Yeah.
I think I'll be kind of sad about it.
Yeah, like how happy would you be playing this as a 2-drop? Like if this was a 2-mana spell.
If it's a
Still
2-mana
not
spell?
You're still not like over the moon, right? You're like happy.
Yeah, I'm like
But
5.5.
yeah. So yeah, it just doesn't do enough.
All right, next up.
Brumar Initiate. 1 and a black for a 2/2 human cleric, and it has X black tap, pay X life. This creature endures X. Activate only as a sorcery. So play this on 2 and on 3. If you don't have anything else to do, you can pay 2 to endure, pay 2 life to endure 2 for 3 mana.
Yeah.
It's not efficient, but it definitely, the fact that it's repetitive is nice.
The idea that there's been so many lifelink creatures and lifelink, we saw a lifelink counter, multiple creatures with lifelink, means you could just like pump out creatures with this, which is kind of cool. I think this is neat, even if you don't have any life gain synergy. Like, getting to make 1 or 2 extra bodies feels pretty good. Like a 2/2 and a 4/4 or something, and then call it a day.
Yeah, I feel like you're
probably
definitely
a 6.
And I think you're most of the time going to be doing for endure. You're going to be making tokens, because otherwise you are putting a lot of eggs in one basket on this card.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with most of the time endure is making tokens. I think most of the time this is making tokens.
Oh no, yeah, sorry, I meant on this card specifically.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
6.
6. Yep.
All right, Nightblade. Nightblade Brigade, 3 mana for a 1/3 with Death Touch and Mobilize 1. That's cute. I like that. When this creature enters, Surveil 1. It's pretty hard to block.
Yeah, these are the kind of things you like mobilize on, because it's not expensive and you get to attack even into big things with it.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, they can't just use that big thing to eat the mobilized token, I guess, but
I think this card's cool. It does what I want it to be doing for sure. The mana cost isn't bad. Surveil is cool. So probably 5.5.
yeah, I think I think 5.5 is fine. I'm definitely looking to have some form of like sacrifice outlet for like this single mobilized token, because otherwise it's going to just, unless you can attack with a lot of things, that's just going to get eaten. But maybe that is what Mardu's trying to do, send a lot of mobilized things in anyway.
Yeah. All right, next up.
RC Revenant, 1 black for a 3/3 vampire with flying, death touch, and lifelink. It's a little like Vampire Nighthawk call out. Renew 2 and a black, exile this card from your graveyard, put a flying counter, death touch counter, and lifelink counter on target creature. Activate only as a sorcery. There's your 100-year battle veteran all on its own.
Yep. This card is good. It's doing all of the things on its own for a good cost, and then makes something else, ideally green, very scary. Put this on one of the 6/6 tramplers, call it a day.
Yeah. I'm 3/3 mana 3/3 flying, death touch, lifelink on its own is pretty fantastic.
Yeah. 8.
I like 8, yeah, because even if they can kill it, you still get some value out of it.
All right, Rot Curse, I can never say the word. Rakshasa.
It's a tough one. Yeah.
My mouth just doesn't want to mouth it. 2 mana for a 5/5 with trample and decay, and it has renew. Pay X and black. Exile this creature from your graveyard. Put a decay counter on each of up to X creatures. Activate only as a sorcery. It's cheap. You hit them once real hard, and then you get to decay all of their stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you turn all their creatures into one-shot attackers.
Yeah. I think that's pretty cool. It's a little weird, but I'm into weird.
Yeah, so you're just like playing this and immediately swinging on turn 3 because who cares about, because obviously can't block, comes back, or it doesn't come back, the exile ability
does some good damage.
As it can you drop those counters on a bunch of stuff, and not only does it eventually kill them, it might let you just alpha through blockers.
Yeah.
Because now they can't block anymore.
Yeah. So they can't block with them, so they can't not attack, and when they attack, they die. That feels good. I feel like this is like an 8.
Yeah, I think it is. 8 sounds right.
They have to have good targets, and I don't know. It's a little wonky, but it feels powerful overall.
Agreed. It does seem like with Renew and Mobilize, or not Mobilize, Harmonize, and some other things, we definitely do not seem to be lacking mana sinks in this format.
True. Salt Road Skirmish, 4 mana for a sorcery. Destroy a creature. Create 2 1/1 red warrior creature tokens. They gain haste until end of turn. Sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step. It's fine. Kill your blocker, make little dudes, which is kind of what you want to be doing anyway. It has its own, it's a spell with Harmonize, effectively. Not Harmonize, Mobilize.
Mobilize. You just did it the other way that I just got backwards.
It's better than Ascended, and Ascended, and Send, whatever.
Descent, yeah, I can't even remember the third one now.
It was a big pile of stupid.
Fathomless Descent.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this is good. Even though it's sorcery speed, I'm still willing to pay 4 mana to kill a creature on my turn and then make dudes.
But if you can find something to do with those dudes, sacrifice, maybe equip one or something to get an attack, a better attack in. But even if you can't, I'm fine with this as like, is this an 8 for premium removal?
Probably not. I'm still willing to call this an 8. It's on the weaker side of that, but I think it is good.
I can stick with it.
Sandskitter Outrider, 4 mana for a 2/1 with Menace. When it enters, it endures 2. So it actually is a 4/3 with Menace, or a 2/1 with Menace and another 2/2 body. This feels also pretty weak.
This is an example, like you said, about sometimes you definitely will put counters on things. Like this more often than not, it's going to be a 4/3 menace rather than a 2/1.
But I feel like that's just what we get with like normal
Yes.
sets, is just a 4/3 with Menace for 4 mana. So like, yeah, the counters are relevant in this, but I feel like Endure has been the thing I've been the least impressed with.
I guess the idea is you're getting the optionality, right? So instead of only getting a 4/3, you can get the 2 bodies if that's better.
Yeah.
I agree. It seems it's not necessarily weaker, but certainly less synergistic than everything else.
Agreed. 5?
Seems like what we've been seeing a lot of Abzan 5s.
Yeah. It's hard to say. It feels underwhelming, but I don't want to say they're not playable, because like, we're gonna play Abzan, so they've gotta be played. Next up, we have the Scavenger Regent, 4 mana for either a 4/4 with flying and ward, discard a card, or X black for each non-dragon creature gets -X/-X till end of turn. That's good. I like both of these sides of the creature. 4 mana for a 4/4 flyer is great rate. The ward is excellent. I think this is... the flexibility on it really I was going to say an 8, but like, because that is like such a cool flexibility option, you can like have bigger creatures than them. You can just wipe the board.
But both sides of this card are almost certainly at least a 2/4.
Yeah. Is that a 9?
I think it is, especially with how powerful that sweeper can be.
Yeah. All right, a 9 it is. Next up, the Sib-Sig Ceremony. Black creature spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. Whenever a creature you control enters the battlefield, destroy that creature, then create a black zombie creature token. Constructed playable, no thank you.
That's a very weird card.
It is. You want things to be dying, so you want to play like, I don't know, like little disciples or something weird, make zombies, kill them, put them in the graveyard, do something else. Yeah. 1.
Yeah, let's just say 1 and move on, because that's a very weird card.
Sidisi's Regent of the Mire, 2 mana for a 1/2. You could tap, sacrifice a creature you control with mana value X other than Sidisi. Return target creature card with mana value X +1 from the graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. I like that it's +1, so it actually gives you a sack option for your mobilize 1/1s. You can bring 1-drops back. So
that's true. It's like another attempt at the birthing pod effect.
Yeah.
Except it's great. I mean, it's more black themed, right? It's your graveyard instead of your deck.
Yeah. So like in Mardu, I feel like it actually could just be very good, because you'll have a substantial amount of 1-drops you just want to be bringing back, and you have a lot of mobilize tokens. But also, you just get to trade up your vanilla 4-drop for your rare 5-drop over and over again, which seems good.
This card does feel powerful. It feels really slow.
It does. Yeah. I mean, I think it's high impact for a 2-drop, but that's not saying a lot, if that makes sense. I think in that spot is what I can rate it on.
It's got the same pod problem of, like, I've got a 2-drop. Okay, I can get a 3-drop. But I have a 5-drop in my graveyard, and I don't have a 4 to bridge the gap.
Yeah. I think this card's fine. It's long. You have to have a grindy deck. It depends on how fast the format is, but I think I would still give this a 6.
Agreed. 6 seems fair.
It seems high impact for a 2-drop, and what more can I ask for my 2-drops?
Nowadays, a second paragraph worth of text.
Fair. Sinkhole Surveyor, 2 mana for a 1/3 with flying. When this creature attacks, you lose a life, and this creature endures 1. I don't hate that.
No, like the first time you do this, you're trading, one life for, one power, but and only doing one, and the next time you're doing it, but you're doing two and three and four, and it just
What?
yeah, this card can get out of control if they don't deal with it.
You're still only enduring one though.
You are, but you're trading one damage for one life the first time, and then you're losing a life, and it's two. I don't know. It made more sense until I said it, and then it made less sense.
It is still one life for one damage, but the one life pays up. So it's like
Yeah,
you're paying a life
that's a
for
better way to
one
put it.
damage this turn, but also one damage every other turn. So I would actually argue that it's worse later. Like the first few triggers are the most important ones because they're dealing more damage over long term. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like the first life is going to deal 5 damage. The second life is going to deal 4 damage.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's still great. It's not like impactful when it hits the board. It dies pretty easy, but I like it. So 7.5. I like my 8s to be pretty impactful. Like when they do something, this just gets bolted. It is a bird after all.
Yeah, you gotta bolt the bird. I was gonna say 7, so right in that range.
Yeah, I feel like if they don't kill it, then it does the thing like an 8. I feel like it's powerful. So
Next up, Strategic Betrayal. 1 in a black sorcery. Target opponent exiles a creature they control and their graveyard.
someone says it has to be exact. Know a good card.
That's going back to the CDC, the birthing pod.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like X+1 or less. It's exactly X+1.
I agree. It's a weird card, but it's still like a 2-mana 1/3, right? Like it's still a creature. It's still a body. If and when you use it, it's fine. So I agree. It's not a house, but I don't need it to be when I play it on turn 2. I don't understand why we have this card.
Strategic Betrayal?
Yeah.
It's just an edict effect that has a side effect of nuking.
Oh. I read this twice, and both times I read target opponent exiles a creature card they control from their graveyard.
Oh, no.
And I was
no,
like,
and their graveyard.
I was like, this is doing nothing, and it doesn't even have like flashback like we've seen in like the undead sets where you could get a specific creature twice.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Edict effect is fine. I thought this was substantially worse.
No. Edict that just has the benefit of getting rid of renew and harmonize and all that stuff.
Yes, much better than what I read it as 2 or 3 times. Yeah, I think this is good. I don't hate edict effects. I mean, they're obviously not perfect, but I'm going to say this is a 7. I like the bonus of not letting them remove cards from their graveyard or have access to any fuel.
Graveyard part's nice. You are in a bit of a token format, although this will never have to deal with mobilized tokens because they'll all be gone by the time you can cast this. So it's really just maybe some endurers. So yeah, sometimes you're only going to get hit a 1/1, but you might get some value out of the graveyard anyway, and sometimes you'll get something big. So I like it as a 7.
All right, next up, Unburied Earth Carver. 2 mana for a 2/2. You could pay 2, sacrifice another creature, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Excellent. This is better for mobilize. It's not limited to once per turn. I just have not been liking the endure stuff, but like I do feel like the mobilize stuff has been really good. So 6.
That seems good to me.
This is a bear I'm happy to have.
Repetitive sacrifice outlet is always useful to have, even if it's 2 mana.
Unrooted Ancestor, 3 mana for a 3/2 with flash. You can pay 1, sacrifice another creature. This creature gains indestructible till end of turn. Cool. So you could just attack with everything and then sack the mobilized creature that they block and make this indestructible. So it costs you nothing, effectively.
Exactly. At least in those Mardu decks.
And it has flash, which is really cool too. So you can eat their stuff and give it indestructible. So, I mean, it's nothing special, but pretty happy to have this in most of what black is trying to do. So 6.
6, yeah, 6.
I like annoying my opponents.
We got Venerated Stormsinger next. 3 and a black for a 3/3 Orc Cleric with Mobilize 1. Whenever this creature or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life.
Excellent. I need more of these for my commander decks anyway.
I mean, Mobilize. Ignore like this one having to attack. You get a couple other things with Mobilize, and you're getting 3 triggers a turn, maybe.
Yeah.
Without
and all your
anything?
mobilized stuff is like dying, and you just like ping them to death. This seems pretty nutty.
Yep. Again, each opponent 2 HG. More stuff we won't open.
Yeah. This feels game ending in a mobilized deck, right?
For sure. Like, even if it's
can
only
you imagine if you had the bird that gave everything flying?
yeah, take 5, end a turn, take 5 more, and I gain 5.
Yeah, holy shit. It needs help, right? You have to have other mobilized, you have to be able to attack. I don't like paying 4 mana and doing nothing, so it's hard to give it too high of a score, but like this is a solid 7. And in the right deck, I think it's gonna just win games. It's gonna be an 8.
I like it as a 7 as well.
Alright, Whale of War, 3 mana. You could choose 1. Creatures your opponents control get -1/-1 till end of turn. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand for 3 mana. I like this. Normally I'm willing to pay this at sorcery speed for just the bottom one. I mean, it's not always making the cut, but the flexibility here, and you can blow out some pretty crazy combats by giving everything -1/-1 from your opponent's board. I don't think I'm ever cutting this card.
Nope, I'm always playing probably exactly 1. I mean, if I have good enough creatures, maybe I'll play the second one of these, but I'm always playing the first one.
Yeah, with the flexibility of the -1/-1, like I feel like I'm a little bit more inclined to play a second one sometimes if I have the room, but yeah, certainly don't need to. So probably a 6.
6.
Worthy Cost, 1 mana as an additional cost to cast, sack a creature, sorcery speed, exile target creature or planeswalker, which is good because we saw some indestructible stuff, so you still can kill stuff. Mobilize gives you a lot of free fodder for this. We saw plenty of cards that just can be cast from the graveyard, bring things back. We saw a couple of those, so these are always really, really good. Just an 8.
Talked about finding, is there a Bone Shards effect in this format a little while ago, or maybe one of the other colors, and we had to wait till the very end of black to find it, but we found it. So yeah. I like it as an 8.
You lied, it's not the very end.
This is the last card.
Yothan Tomb Guard, 3 mana for a 2/3 with Menace. Whenever a creature you control with a counter on it deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card and lose a life. It's not a May. I feel like I might die, but if it's in your final swing and you kill them, you don't have to lose the life, right? Because it's a trigger. It's fine.
Yep.
So you just make sure that when you're going to die, they die in combat, and you're good. But even still, this is a great signpost, even, monocolor card. Ow, something just got in my eye. Ow, what the fuck? I think I'm dying. I just got stabbed in the eye by something. 7, I'm never cutting this card. This card feels great.
It does need some help, right? You do have to have other creatures with counters. It doesn't seem like that's significantly hard, but
it seems like Mardu, it's in Sultai and Mardu.
Sultai and Abzan.
Yeah. And there's enough overlap there to where you're going to get that in Mardu too.
Some, yeah. I just there will be decks where you only have a couple cards that's relevant for, and this card's not great. But
I still think he's good there.
Just a 3 mana, 2/3 menace, basically.
Yeah, I mean, and then you have the upside of triggering that from time to time. I don't think that from time to time will be particularly rare.
Yeah,
because like so many cards just have Endure stapled onto it. Like the Black Monkey, so many cards let you put tokens, counters back onto all your stuff from Renew, right? Like it's just every card had that mechanic in black. a fair number of them in white, a fair number in green, I imagine, will have counters. So I just think most of your deck's just going to have that stuff on accident.
I don't know. For some reason, I just have a feeling this card's going to be mediocre more than we think. I think it's still good. I mean, I think I'm saying it's like a 6. But
I'm way higher on it. This might be the biggest difference we've had so far.
yeah, I mean, it's still only a point.
I think it's like kind of a 6, even if you don't have much at all. I'm fine with it.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting 3 mana, 3/3 flyers if you don't have, like,
At
3 mana,
rare.
2/3 mana. I mean, 3 mana, 2/3 menace is fine, but.
It's fine. But, like, I cannot imagine you're not going to be drawing cards with this. Like, if we go back and count all the creatures or cards that put counters or made counters or whatever, just in black, I feel like you're going to have to, like, work to miss this card. I could certainly be wrong, but it feels like there's plenty of just incidental support in no matter which color pairings you take.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. For some reason, I'm skeptical on this card.
So you are 6, I am 7. I think that is the end of black. I think of the 3 colors, that's our biggest like difference in ratings. Let us know in the comments what you guys think of that card as well as black as a whole. Yanks, what do you think?
Black did a lot of what it usually does, has very good removal. Didn't have any real super bombs, I don't think. It's just a lot of solid cards.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. We had like a 9, I think.
Yep, we had 1 9.
Which was not too crazy, but like still all very solid cards.
I will say we are getting, unsurprisingly, as we go through this, we are getting very few mythics because most of those are going to be concentrated in the multicolor.
Yeah, multicolor is going to be a long video. All right, guys, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you next time for all of the red cards here for Tarkir Dragonstorm. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Love you guys.